Today is Monday, November the 23rd. It is morning in Los Angeles and it's morning in America. I am your host, Casey Phoenix, and this is my morning political thought. For the side news stories, I didn't feel like doing any this morning, but I pulled up the Washington Times just to see what some of the headlines are. And it's most of the same stuff like study finds Biden buoyed by votes from non-citizens, which we already knew non-citizens voted for Biden. I don't even have to read this article. Let's see what's another one. Biden fears Trump will mismanage vaccine plan. There isn't anything for Biden to fear because Biden doesn't have a vaccine plan. All of this stuff has been President Trump. Operation Warp Speed, everything else, even though the pharmaceutical companies don't want to give him credit because they're mad at him right now because President Trump did the favored nations to lower prices, drug prices for Americans because he was doing what's right for Americans and not what's right for pharmaceutical companies. And they're upset with him right now and they don't want him to get credit. And I had seen something on Twitter or Twitter where someone had said that oh well, the Trump administration doesn't deserve credit for the vaccine because it was the professionals in the medical industry and pharmaceutical industry that developed the vaccine and all of this stuff. Yeah, that's true. However, if President Trump's administration didn't get rid of all that regulation, they wouldn't have been able to move as fast as they did. Let me put it like this. If there was no President Trump, there would be no vaccine right now. I'm indifferent on the vaccine. Check out my episode, The Vaccine is a Psychological Thing. So I'm indifferent. It's whatever to me. However, I call things as they are. And if there was no President Trump, there wouldn't be a vaccine this year because under another administration, they would not have gotten rid of all of the regulations that companies have to go through to get things done. In some things that companies have to go through, it's just more redundant stuff that it's like, wait a second, we just did this. Or some things it just sits on someone else's desk for 90 days and then waits for approval and so on and so forth, where President Trump's administration has removed regulations where people can just get it done. And either they can get a yes or get a no, but at least they can find out something. They don't have to wait years and years and years and years. Also, the other thing that I like about this is that this takes part of the argument out of pharmaceutical companies. You know how when pharmaceutical companies say, well, with R&D, research and development, for those who don't know, with R&D, when they're like, well, we spent so much money in R&D, they could say that on something that was studied and created over years and years and years. But for what happened with this vaccine, this was done over a period of less than a year. So there wasn't, obviously there was some investment, clearly, but over a 5-year period or a 3-year period or whatever, they could make that case better. But over less than a year, it's like, dude, you got it done in less than a year. How much did you invest? So people just don't get things sometimes. And it's a little bit disheartening, along with a few other things. I'm glancing at some of the stuff in the Washington Times as I'm talking right now. Yeah. They're talking about Andrew Cuomo in the press conference that happened. Everyone was saying that Andrew Cuomo was kind of testy and other things, and he was rude. That's because with Democrats, they're not used to. Okay, let me rephrase. I need to stop saying that because I don't, like I mentioned before, I don't have anything against Democrats per se. With Democrats in quote unquote power, they're not used to pushback from the press. They're not used to it. So when the press starts to ask questions, they're like, wait, what? Just like when Nancy Pelosi was asked by Wolf Blitzer in regards to that negotiation with the stimulus. She got flustered because they're not used to it. The press doesn't go after Democrats like they do Republicans in power, quote unquote. So with the thing that happened with Andrew Cuomo and his situation where he was a little bit testy, that's because he's not used to pushback. But people are starting to push back because they're like, dude, you keep locking down the state. You're killing all of these businesses. Same thing here in California with Governor Newsom. I don't even want to call him governor. But it's just, yeah. So they're not used to pushback. I'm looking around here to see if there's anything else that I'm coming across. Oh yeah, they're talking about that there's going to be a cabinet pick for Joe Biden. How can somebody who's not even president-elect pick a... Okay, all right. Like I said, I won't believe anything until I see it. I won't really believe anything until December 14th, 15th. And even then, I'm not with it until January 20th. Anything can happen. So that's how I look at that. When it comes to what happened over the weekend, that's what I want to talk about. You know, ye of little faith. Whitney Houston is my muse, for those who don't know. On my other channel, I brought this up. That Whitney Houston, when she did her interviews and she talked about certain things, the pearls that she dropped, besides crack is whack and crack is cheap. But in all seriousness, Whitney Houston dropped some pearls during some interviews that she has done over the years. And one thing that she was told by her mother about show business and in the press, she said, they make you so they can break you. And what disturbed me, I did an episode on this weekend, the Purple Elephant Show, do you want it done fast or do you want it done right? When I was talking about Sidney Powell. Because everybody's like, where's the evidence? We want to see the evidence. And I'm like, well, I want to see it too, but you got to take your time. And then all of these people who are screaming, release the Kraken, release the Kraken. She's going to do this, she's going to do that. As soon as a press release comes out from President Trump's campaign, basically saying what I said over the weekend. I said Sidney Powell is doing her own thing. I said there are a lot of moving parts. Go to my episode. My episode was up. You can see it. Casey said it first. I said that Sidney Powell is doing her own thing. Lynn Woods is doing his own thing. Rudy Giuliani with Victoria Tensing and Joe DeGeneva and Boris Epstein. And really, Boris Epstein is doing his own thing. Victoria Tensing and Joe DeGeneva, I guess they're kind of backing up Rudy Giuliani, but everybody's sort of doing their own thing because what they're doing is they're throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks is what's being done. Obviously, they're using the 14th Amendment as one argument, but there are other pieces on the chessboard, and those players are the attorneys. So when people saw the press release, they read more into it than what it was saying. It was just saying she's not part of the campaign. That's it. And more than likely, that was sent out. And this is speculation on my end. This is speculation on my end. So, because I don't work for the president. I'm just going by what I'm looking at and what transpired before 24 hours before. This is speculation. It's more than likely because of the interview that she did on Newsmax when she said that when Mark Halpern, I believe his last name is, asked her about the Justice Department not investigating certain things. You're saying that President Trump's Justice Department isn't going to investigate it. And then Sidney Powell says something to the effect of, I wish President Trump, or I something to the effect of, people may not realize that Bill Barr, President Trump, doesn't have as much control over their Justice Department as they would like. Something to that effect. Go to the Newsmax interview. It's got over 2.5 million views. It's 20 minutes long. Go to the interview, and it's something to that effect, where it's like President Trump doesn't have as much control over his Justice Department as people would like to think he has. And, Bill Barr, and she brought up Bill Barr too. I feel that statement might have forced them to say, okay, she's not with us, to make it crystal clear. However, the goals are still the same. Lynn Wood put out something saying the goals are still the same. General Flynn, because Twitter suspended Sidney Powell for like 12 hours or something like that, saying that, hey, the goals are still the same. And these people who were cheering her on, as soon as this press release comes out, they're like, oh, well, I guess she didn't have any evidence. Oh, I guess the Kraken died. And oh, this and oh, that. And I'm like, all it was a simple press release saying she's not an attorney for the campaign. That's it. That's all it was. That press release didn't say she's not an attorney for the campaign because she doesn't have any evidence. Or she's not an attorney for the campaign because she has too much evidence. Or whatever. That press release didn't say what evidence she had or didn't have. What I told you on Saturday still holds the same. I'm going by her reputation. And just so you know, Sidney Powell has exposed corruption before. She wrote a book about it. And that's honestly what I feel is going to happen this time. She's going to expose all of this stuff, and the media is not going to cover it. Just like with her book. She brought everything up. It's almost like with Greg Jarrett, with, what was the title of that book? The Russia hoax, the illicit scheme to clear Hillary Clinton and frame Donald Trump. That book. Greg Jarrett had receipt after receipt after receipt after receipt after receipt after receipt in that book. And the media crickets. But he had all the receipts, and everything that he was talking about in his book pretty much came out eventually on certain platforms, but on a broader scale, did it come out? No, because they didn't cover it. And I feel that that's what's going to happen with Sidney Powell, just like it did with her first book, when she uncovered all of this stuff going on with the intelligence community behind the scenes, where they just don't talk about it. And then people may be like, well, where's the evidence? And the evidence may already have been out because she filed the court documents and everything's in court. So I would be shocked if she didn't have evidence. That's what I would be shocked about. I'm not shocked by a press release. I'm not shocked by anything else. The only thing I would be shocked by is if she didn't have evidence. Because if Sidney Powell says she's looked at something and there's something there, more than likely based off of her resume, there's something there. Based off of Lynn Wood's resume, because he looked at some of the evidence, he said, there's something there. And a press release isn't going to change that. It won't change that. Just like Lynn Wood is not part of the Trump campaign per se, legal team. But Lynn Wood is doing his own thing. And he is a very capable attorney according to his resume and according to those who know him. So it just is one of these are you kidding me moments. It's like, come on, people. Really? Are you so quick to just go with the wave? Whichever way the wind blows, that's where you go, instead of standing and saying, hey, that came out, but let's see what happens. Or, hey, let me check her background. Let's see what she's done in the past. Let's see what Sidney Powell has done in the past. That's why I'm like, are you kidding me on this? That's why I titled this morning Political Thought, Are You Kidding Me? By how some of these people just built Sidney Powell up. They're like, yeah, we're going to release the Kraken. And then as soon as that press release comes out, they're like, oh, well, I guess the crack is not coming out now and all of this other stuff. You don't know that. The press release didn't say anything about that. So, yeah, that's my political thought. The War Room's, it has started 2 minutes ago. So I'm about to start watching The War Room. You should watch The War Room too with Steve Bannon. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting the podcast. I appreciate it. ThePurpleElephantShow.com, main podcasting platform. The Purple Elephant Show on Instagram. The Purple Elephant Show on Parler, the free speech platform. And if you're watching this on BitChute, shout out to the BitChute community, Daily Motion, or YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, followed by the notification bell for YouTube. That will let you know when I upload new videos. Thank you again to everyone who's been supporting the show. Like I said, I really, really appreciate it. Until next time, be blessed.